Tapu, assalamu alaikum, namaste, haru nefer. This is Kasak Maya Keperu with another video for you. In this video, I'm going to talk about how you should work with the Tehuit Oracle and much more than that. But before I get started, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the like button and the subscribe button, excuse me, to get notifications of when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you want to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 a month. It's up to you. You can cancel at any time. There's no obligation, and you'll get exclusive access to content on the spiritual, on the esoteric, content that will teach you how to breathe, how to do proper meditations. If you see that in the background, that's just my ferrets. He's opening the door. He learned to open the door right now. On the esoteric, you'll learn how to astral project, do lucid dreaming, and so much more. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. All right, so let's talk about this video and not be distracted by Razzie because he's back there. He's not camera shy, I'll tell you that much. I wanted to go over just some quick rules and understanding any type of oracle system. And you may have heard me mention this in previous videos, but I want to really emphasize this so you understand it. When you are working with oracles, you are communicating directly with God. And some may want to call this the Akashic Records, and that's fine too. You can say Akashic Records, you can say God, you can say Source, but it is a faculty of God, which is God's infinite wisdom and intelligence that you're going to be communicating with and getting guidance on and advice. So it's very critical. Now, I want you to think about a type of filter or a prism. Now, the oracle would represent the filter or the prism, and the light shining through would be God's wisdom. Now, depending upon the oracle you're using, that filter or that prism can filter out certain things or add to it, things of that nature. So every system that you work with will give different advice. For example, the I Ching will give more spiritual advice. And the other oracles, like maybe, and sometimes we'll even call this an oracle, but the tarot will give you predictions about likelihoods and things of that nature happening. So keep that in mind when working with an oracle system, because it could make the difference between, understanding the type of advice you're getting, meaning that when you're communicating with the tarot, you're getting a lower level of advice. It's not high spiritual advice. When you're communicating with the Meduniter, or say Meduniter or the I Ching, that's a very high level of advice, of God advice. And in that high level advice, it goes beyond right and wrong, good, evil, things of that nature. So you won't find that in those type of oracles. Sage, peace, at Tepu. So it's very, very important that you understand that, because if you're going to tarot and you're looking to quell an argument or a disagreement between you and your mate, you have to understand that the tarot may give you a prediction on what's going to happen, but the I Ching or the Meduniter is not going to give you favor. It's not going to say you're right in this situation and she's wrong. It's merely going to give you advice on how you guys can work the problem out and get back to harmony. And that's important, because some people who also are of lower caliber, and the I Ching talks about this, which is the higher man and the lower man, meaning the higher man is seeking spiritual advice, not looking to get one up on his neighbor. But the lower man he's looking for the oracle to favor him and give him some advice that will have him coming out on top. So this is the different types of people in our society. And you have to understand what you're looking for and what type of person you are. If you want to just get that one up on someone, then you may need to work exclusively with things like the tarot and other oracles. But if you're really looking to get through this life and say, I want to be as spiritual being as possible, I want to love everyone, I want to respect everyone, then you need to start thinking about working with the I Ching or the Meduniter. That's very, very important. Not everyone is cut out in this lifetime to work with high oracles. They're just not. There's a lot of people, especially who have been conditioned by this society through social engineering. All they want is just to get an advantage. And some of these people are the type that will go through a life of, killing, murder, and things of that nature. And God will make sure that they don't get the type of information that could harm other people. So I hope that makes sense. I wanted to create a short video on this just to give you an understanding. So while we're at this, I want to just basically introduce you to two of the oracles, which you've probably seen on my previous videos. And these two oracles have a specific way of when you're doing the readings. So let's take a look at them. Let me just unplug this. I don't need this keyboard here. All right. Now, when we're working with the tarot, the best way for you to do your readings, starting out, if you haven't already done the Celtic Cross, which is the basic reading that most people use, novices, and then you can move on to the advanced level, is you're going to use the 3-card spread, which is you're going to fan the deck out on a table and you're going to pick 3 cards. So 1, 2, 3. Now, I mentally asked a question in my mind, but I'm not going to share that with you. So I just asked the question and I got 3 cards, right? So, and then I place these 3 cards out. And there we go. And these represent the beginning, middle, and the end, like a narrative story. And this is how you want to first start out until you get a really good understanding of the cards themselves. I've got the Ace of Wands and the 6 of Pentacles, and then the Page of Cups. And they have their representations and their meanings, but we're not going to go into that. But just understand that in doing this, you're first starting out with the beginning of a situation, the middle of the situation, and the end of the situation. That's very important. Just like a screen, a play, a 3-act play, first act, second act, third act, that's the way you want to look upon this. Okay. So let's move on to the Oracle of Tehuit. Now, typically with the Oracle of Tehuit, you will pick 2 cards and you'll fan the cards out and you'll pick the first card. All right. And this is Heteru Tem Chayez. Now, let me get this away from her. This keyboard. She's going to want this keyboard. This first one, by the shades on the circles, is telling us to pick another card. So that Tem Chayez is saying, pick another card. I have more information for you. And at that point, we would put it back in the deck and we would shuffle the deck and then pick another card. We're shuffling and then we pick another card. And there you go, Ma'at Tu Chayez. And this concludes the oracle reading. We've gotten 2 cards, and then the diviner would read your answer to your query. Would read the answer to your query. Now he has a complete response from Nete, or God, or Nebecher. The other thing that you have to keep aware of is that there are times within this that it doesn't want you to pick another card. As in the case, what we call is Hetep, and that's just 2 lines shaded, Hetep. So that basically is saying the 1 card is sufficient for gaining insight into your query, right? So let me see if I can find something else with just 2 shadings. And of course, I can't find it. Of course, I can't find it now that I'm looking for it. But when I don't want it, it shows up all the time. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's look at Geb. We have a Gebatep. So in this situation, Well, let me pick a better card than that. I don't want to use Geb because that's a special circumstance. And I can go into that in future videos. If we're looking at Sekert, we look at Sekert Hetep, right? And if I were to pick Sekert Hetep, then the oracle is saying, don't pick another card. This is all you need. This is going to give you what you need to know to answer your question. And that's very, very interesting, because if you are a good diviner, you'll know a lot about Sekert to be able to give a sufficient answer to your querent or your client, even though it's just a one card, right? So, and one of the best things I use as example is a question about what's going on in modern day America, like what's happening. Like, for example, if I were to ask Netter, what does Netter think of the woke movement? Let's see what we got. We pick the card, the first card, any card, because I found it out. I got Tehuti. Tehuti is the god of wisdom. And this is Tehuti Temat, Tehuti negative. So, it's trying to tell us that we're dealing with people who don't have wisdom, that there's no wisdom in what they're doing. Now, we have to understand that intelligence is different than wisdom. Wisdom is higher. It's on a hierarchy of a tree of life. It's higher than Sebek, which is Sebek is information, knowledge, and information. So the woke movement would be on the level of Sebek, which is names and definitions and labels. So right away, we see the oracle saying, now pick another card. And it's going to give us, it's actually going to elaborate more on our question. So we already know we're dealing with a Tehuti situation. It's bad wisdom, no wisdom in what we're doing and practicing with the woke movement. This next card is Amen. Now, this is Amen in the positive, but this is also telling us there needs to be peace. And there needs to be a way of not looking at things in such a structured way. But the idea, again, is there is a lack of peace. And when you start looking at people who want to be called by these different things like they, them, or non-binary, one of the things Oracle can be indicating is that these people don't have peace in their life, and that there's something that's really agitating them. There's anxiety. There's something that they're not happy with about themselves or the situations that they're in, calling for a lack of wisdom to be applied. So that's one way of interpreting the reading. So that was the Medunatir. And this is the oracle, again, we use mostly when we decide that we want to be a higher person, a higher man, higher woman, a spiritually elevated person. We go to the Medunatir. We want just a prediction of what's going to happen in the next few days, next week. Then we can go with the tarot. Sage, I think your answer to your question is Pisces, Ma'at. So let me know if I answered that sufficiently. Okay. So these tools, and that's what they are, can be very, very powerful if used in the correct way. You have to be careful also not to influence them, because if you come to the table, let's say, and there's a person that you really want to make your mate, and you're like have a big time infatuation with them, and you're doing readings, you're going to taint how the reading comes out, unfolds. And the oracle may be talking about you and your obsession, but you may think it's talking about the union, that, oh yeah, it's saying that this is a great union, or it's saying that this is a bad union, when the oracle could be talking about, hey, your infatuation is going to mess this situation up. It's going to mess the courting process up. So keep that in mind. That's very important, that you're not projecting onto the oracle. I know I've done it a number of times. Like I apply for a business loan, and I'm hoping I get the loan. I keep, thinking about it. Then I project that onto the oracles, and the oracle says, yes, you'll get the loan, and I don't get the loan, because the oracle was probably talking about someone else, and I wasn't at Amen. I wasn't at peace to where I could see clearly. That's important. That's hella important. So anyway, I want to thank you for tuning in for this late broadcast. And oh, Sage. Okay, great. Thank you so much. You cleared that up. That's what you're asking. We'll get into that on our next broadcast. All right. That is awesome. Let's get into that next broadcast. So this is Kasankma Keperu, son of Ma'at and Tehuti. My aunt is the goddess Heteru. Until my next video, I'm in Ra.